You know that one teacher that everybody has that just nobody respected? You know, like everybody just knew. First day of class, everybody just knew. You just looked at each other, all the kids, and non-verbally, they would just be like, with their minds, they'd be like, we're gonna fuck with him until he quits, right? Thank you, everybody. So if you don't know, here's what the show is. It's just a bunch of funny people telling like 100% true stories.
Ladies and gentlemen, Ari Shaffir.
So I got this Facebook message from this girl once. And by the way, I'm gonna say the name a lot in this, and they're gonna bleep it every time on television. But you guys should just all know that when you hear a bleep, that's because I'm saying the name. So I got this Facebook message. You ever get a Facebook message from somebody like from high school or something? They're like, well, hey, we drifted apart. And you're like, I know, we did it on purpose. Why are you ruining what we've built up for so long? So wrote me and she goes, Ari, I noticed you have a lot of Twitter followers and Facebook friends, and I'm in some online contest to win a trip to the Super Bowl. And if you tell them all to vote for me in this online contest, I could win this trip to the Super Bowl. And my first thought was, go fuck yourself. I barely even know you. No fucking way. But since I barely knew her, I felt super obligated to do everything she asked of me. You know that weird dynamic where like if your best friend asks you for a ride to the airport, your best friend, you can be like, you can get a ride to lick my asshole. There's a shuttle leaving every 4 minutes, right there. Just cut it under there. It needs licking. But no, I'll never take you to the airport. You can go fuck yourself. Eat a plate of shit. I'd rather watch you eat a plate of shit than ever take you to the airport. And in fact, you know what? Now, if I happen to see you at the airport, I'm gonna punch you in the dick. So you associate me and the airport with bad thoughts together. That's your best friend. Like, if somebody you met at work like a month ago, if they ask for a ride to the airport, then it's super uncomfortable. I didn't say no to that. It's always like, you think of any excuse possible. You're like, you know, I work nights. Oh, it's a daytime thing? I guess we're going to the airport. I guess there's no way around it. So I didn't know if I should say yes or no. So here's what I thought. I thought that I'll look back to when I liked her the most, and if I would do it for that person, then I would still help her. I'll tell everybody to fucking vote for her in this online contest. And so when I liked her the most was 9th grade. She was the hottest girl in my 9th grade class. Like by far the hottest one. She always wore a mini skirt, which to an all-Jewish school meant she wore it like right on the line. That was as low as you allowed to go. Most girls wore it sock or below. Not this slut. Rocking some knee at 13. She was so fucking hot, man. That was as high as you were allowed, too. We had this rule where if a rabbi saw a girl in a miniskirt, he would just yell out the word knees. Just go, knees! And she would have to get on her knees in front of the rabbi. It's not sexual, you guys. It's not a Catholic school. It's a Jewish school. Relax. What? Oh. Who's still Catholic, by the way? Enough. What else are you waiting for? Like, what other sign do you need to not be Catholic anymore? I'm not saying don't be Christian. You can keep being Christian, but just join another Jesus club. There's like 30 different Jesus clubs, right? They're all pretty much the same shit. Love Jesus and hate the Jews, right? Is that pretty much? Except one of the clubs loves to rape children. Totally don't be part of that club anymore. And if you're like, oh, are you just hearing about this right now? Am I breaking the news to you? Yeah, it's been going on for a while. If you're like, months? Even longer than that. Like 1,500 years, continuous child rape. It's totally trending. Be Protestant, be Methodist, whatever, be more. Don't be Mormon, obviously not, but like, be one of the other ones. My friend Steve, he's a Catholic, and I tell him this all the time. I'm like, dude, you got it. And he goes, Ari, I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. But he goes, you have to understand, tradition is really important to me. And my grandfather was raped here. And I want one day all right. Anyway, it was nothing sexual. Our rule was if they were on the ground and their skirt didn't touch the ground, it was considered immodest. It was a half-day suspension. See the difference there between the two religions? It's like real tight. On one hand, you have a half-day suspension. Nobody wants that. Okay, so anyway, she would sit in the front of her class with her skirt on, and she would let it right up to about there. And I would just sit in the back, just staring at her with a boner in my chin. And these weird feelings I didn't understand. It was just like, I liked her, man. She was hot. I liked her. So we had this math class taught by this guy named Mr. Sager. And Mr. Sager was that one teacher, you know that one teacher that everybody has that just nobody respected? You know, like everybody just knew. First day of class, everybody just knew. You just looked at each other, all the kids, and non-verbally, they would just be like, with their minds, they'd be like, we're gonna fuck with him until he quits, right? I mean, it's obvious. Mr. Sager, the only thing he did wrong, he had a deep voice and a little bit of a lisp. That was it. He'd be like, the x-axis meets the y-axis. And we're like, oh, yeah, you're fucked. How dare you try to teach children? So one day, Mr. Sager, he was turned around. He was writing on the chalkboard, and like this. And I figured out that if you take a rubber band, if you tie it around your fingers, if you then take a half a paper clip, if you hook it on the rubber band and pull back, you've got a weapon. You've got a gun. It's as close as the Jews got to gang violence. Like, this was it. And I was pointing it at Mr. Sager. I was never going to do anything. I was just pointing it at him, trying to get attention. You know, like, woo, look at me. Class clown. I'm not learning. And just being a badass. But then as I was doing it, my fingers, they started getting real sweaty. So it was like getting hard to hold on to the paperclip. And I was pointing it right at Mr. Sager. And I was like, oh, this is bad. And I didn't know what to do. And if I knew anything at all about tensile strength, I would have realized, like, oh, I can just do that. And then it's not a problem at all anymore. Completely negated, just like that. It's over. But that was the lesson I was missing on the chalkboard right then. So I was like, I don't know how to handle the situation. And math is stupid, by the way. And so I thought, maybe, do you go away from the target? Does that make sense? Yeah. And I was doing that. I was like, no, that's wrong. And I couldn't hold on anymore. And the paperclip, it shot out of my fingers and went right at Mr. Sager. No arc at all, like a straight line through the air. It made that noise. You know, like, like it made that. And it hit him. It hit him right in the back of the head, right where the ear meets the head. It hit him like right there. And it drew a little bead of blood. Yeah, sick shot, right? We're talking back of the classroom trying not to let go. Never miss a target. So Mr. Sager, he goes, oh, who did that? And he starts to turn around, and he looks at the class, and you know the rule, you know the code of conduct in high school. Nobody ever rats on anybody. So nobody's gonna say a word, nobody's gonna talk about it. But then Mr. Sager, he starts upping it. He starts going, if nobody tells me who did that, nobody's leaving this class. You'll all be late for your next class. And all these little Juliet kids, they start thinking, I could see them murmuring to each other, like they're like, wait, if I get a tardy on my record, am I not getting to Harvard Business School? Like, they start wondering, like, I don't know Ari that well. Do you know him? I'm not even friends with him. I never played football with him. Why would I even suffer for him? And then this kike Heeb. I think that's my favorite line in all of comedy. She raised her hand up, and she goes, Ari did it. And I'm like, motherfucker. And I got sent to the principal's office. I got suspended for 5 days. No, I should have been, dude. You can't shoot a teacher in the face and get away with that. You gotta set a precedent down. It was the worst trouble I've ever gotten in, though. My parents thought I was a bad kid after that. They made me see a therapist for like 2 years. The whole time, I was like, my fingers got sweaty. That's all that happened. Anyway, 22 years later, I got a Facebook message from saying, can you help me win a trip to the Super Bowl? And I just wrote back, why don't you ask Mr. Sager for help? It felt so good.